I was nauseated. I was nauseated by the wildly energetic applause. I felt like Hollywood is only gutless en masse. And it truly felt like gracious. This is a truly obvious sign that we're not the cool club any longer. Jim Carrey, like every other person watching the 2022 Oscars, witness. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock and was not satisfied with what unfolded next. He had a ton of unforgiving words for the man that stunned the world at the Oscars. And some will leave you shocked. The 60-year-old entertainer from Liar commented, "I was nauseated on CBS Mornings on Tuesday Walk 29th. I was nauseated by the thunderous applause. I felt like Hollywood is only cowardly en masse. It truly felt like gracious. This is a truly obvious sign that we're not the cool club any longer." Smith proceeded to acknowledge the Best Entertainer Oscar for his job in Ruler Richard, subsequent to getting into a showdown with the 53-year-old rapper and the 57-year-old Saturday Night Live star, each individuals at the Dolby Theater. On spring 27th, when the Philadelphia local one came up to cheer him, as Carrey referenced in 2002 and 2007, Smith was designated for a Brilliant Globe grant for Best Entertainer. At the end of the day, didn't win. There was some inquiry in Today about if any other individual had strolled from the crowd and done that, they would have been accompanied out by security, or perhaps captured. The police asked Christian the record charges. They asked Chris, "Would you like to record charges?" And Chris evidently said, "No, he didn't. He doesn't need the problem I had for declared today that I was suing Will for $200 million bucks." Since that, Terry told Gail Lord that Ollie star Smith ought to have been captured, yet Rock didn't look for charges against Smith after the occurrence. Is hard not to see Carrey's point in the class, regardless of whether suing for that sum may be marginally exorbitant. The Canadian local proceeded to say that it's ok to shout from the crowd. On the off chance that you don't support a joke, however, you don't reserve the privilege to stroll up in front of an audience and smack someone in the face. Since they said Wordspan contended that the episode raised to that level, yet Carrey differ, it didn't heighten. He said it appeared suddenly on the grounds that Will have something happening inside him that is disappointed. "I hope everything works out for him. I truly do. I have nothing against Will Smith. He's done extraordinary things. Yet that was stand a youngster second. It cast a pall over everyone's sparkling second. Different entertainers concurred. Watch the show. I'm certain you saw the second everybody is discussing among Chris. And will your contemplations, I don't excuse savagery. I simply see no real excuse for it." The entertainer from Freedom Day straightforwardly apologized for his activities at the Oscars the day after the late evening, expressing that Chris Rock's kid about Jada Pinkett Smith's alopecia had been a lot to handle. "I was off the mark and I was off base," he composed by means of Instagram on spring 28th. "I am humiliated, and my activities were not characteristic of the man I need to be. There is a bad situation for brutality in a universe of affection and thoughtfulness." Carrey stays quiet on the entertainer's conciliatory sentiments, yet reaffirms the trouble of being selected for an Oscar. He guaranteed that the whole event had been discolored by Will's eruptions. Many individuals endeavored to arrive at that spot and to have their second in the sun, to get their honor for the truly difficult work they did. The Ace Ventura star told Lord, "It is no fundamental accomplishment to go through all the stuff you need to go through when you're named for an Oscar. It's a glove of commitment that you need to do it." Was only a childish second that cast a pall over the entire thing. The Foundation of Film Expressions and Sciences demonstrated they would be investigating the occurrence after the function closed. The foundation denounces the activities of Mr. Concede that the previous evening's show. The association said in a proclamation to assortment on Monday, "We have formally begun a conventional survey around the occurrence and will investigate further activity and results as per their ordinance's principles of lead and California regulation." The entertainer ought to have been captured for punching Chris Rock at the Oscars, Yet Jim Carrey is being called out for pietism for saying so. Tweets have shown a video of Carrey from June 1997, while he was tolerating an honor at the MTV Film Grants. In the wake of tolerating his award for the lake, fellow Carrey shows up in front of an audience and gives a powerful kiss to Alicia Silverstone on the lips. Much to Silverstone's uneasiness, at the time Silverstone was just 20 while Carrey was north of 35. The entertainer has been known as a faker for his comments about the occasion, including Smith and his conduct in the recordings, has likewise been censured. The video has been shared a huge number of times on Twitter since it was transferred Albion. It ought to be noticed that most of these tweets erroneously express Silverstone's age clearly. He went behind the stage to apologize to an embarrassed Silverstone. One Twitter client composed Jim Carrey says, "Well, Smith ought to have been captured for hitting Chris Rock. What about when Jim Carrey effectively kissed Alicia Silverstone when he was going up in front of an audience to acknowledge an honor? Envision being Jim Carrey nauseated by a slap, while additionally being a similar Jim Carrey who strongly kissed Alicia Silverstone," tweeted another client. It no affected his profession had all. Imagine a scenario in which the entertainer's fault finders expressed with another, adding, "Take a gander at her response. After he did it, she looks so sickened much." A larger number of entertainers than Carrey have been discovered kissing grant moderators without their will in the wake of winning Best Entertainer for the musician in 2003. Edwin Brody paralyzed Halberry by kissing her. She told Andy Cohen in 2017 that her most memorable response was that of outrageous shock and loathing. Smith's slapping of Rock immediately turned into the most discussed occasion from the current year's Oscars function, prompting huge analysis of his way of behaving from numerous Hollywood friends. In spite of the occurrence, Smith got a thunderous applause after he acknowledged the honor for Best Entertainer for his depiction of Lord Richard, and subsequently broke down in tears while tolerating the honor after Rock poked a fun at Jada Pinkett Smith, its uncovered head, alluding to her as G.I. Jane. Various VIPs incorporating this one said something regarding what is going on. Pinkett Smith has been exceptionally genuine about her fights with the alopecia, Carrey explained on his past proclamations. In a subsequent meeting with the related press, "I see it as a bigger issue, and it's an issue of the limits being broken, limits and remittances, and leniency to specific ways of behaving." Carrey told the power source, "The truth of the matter is that permit is being given to individuals to carry on fiercely when they could do without what they hear. And it just ought not be." The 60-year-old shows sympathy for Smith, saying he comprehended that Smith felt compelled into his lead. He said, "I like